so nice of you to join us today. We're glad you're here at home with us. And I don't know about you, but if you're like me, you're always looking for new and interesting recipes. And I have been watching a program for quite some time now on our local PBS station here in Pittsburgh. And it's called Ciao Italia. And this lady is an excellent cook. She loves to cook. You can tell just by the way she presents it. So I found that she has just produced a cookbook. And it's called Ciao Italia, and her name is Mary Ann Esposito, and she is a treasure and a joy. But what I like about her is what she has to say about food. Let me just read this. Food was the connector of our lives. It brought people together. In an Italian family, love is expressed through kisses and in the kitchen. Yet as a girl, Mary Ann took for granted the endless parade of delicacies emanating from the family hearth. Remember we talked about that a couple of weeks ago, all those old, wonderful recipes from your family that when they're gone, you say, oh, why didn't I get Aunt Minnie's sugar cookie recipe? And how we said we're going to make a concerted effort to do that. Well, she feels the same way about this. Only, she said, when she began studying cooking in Italy, did she realize that the techniques and the recipes that she was learning were so familiar because she had seen them prepared countless times before by her own mother and her grandmothers. Well, you want to stick with us today because Mary Ann Esposito is right here, and she's going to cook up something so good you're going to not want to miss it. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this message.
Here's today's at-home hint. When cooking pasta, don't add salt or oil to the cooking water. Salt does nothing for the taste, and oil will make the pasta slippery, so it won't hold the sauce as well.
If you have an at-home hint, a favorite recipe, or just a friendly greeting you'd like to share, we'd like to hear from you. Post it in the comments of this video. Visit our Facebook page.
Mary Ann, I am so glad you're here today.
Well, ciao, sweetie.
Thank you.
I'm glad to be here.
I have looked forward to this since I knew you were going to be able to be with us.
Great.
And my kitchen is yours.
Well,
help yourself.
Let me tell you, your kitchen is a lot nicer than mine. Well, today we're going to make something called a frittata di spaghetti.
Now, what does frittata mean?
Well, frittata is like an omelet. It's usually made with eggs and cheese and maybe vegetables. But in this case, we're adding leftover pasta the way my grandmother used to do.
Now, wait, you're going to have eggs and cheese and put spaghetti in that?
Right.
Sounds like something I would like.
Spaghetti that was even sauced, left over in the fridge. You know how you like to take that out and fry it in a frying pan? We're going to do this in an omelet.
Great.
So now, Arlene, you got to come over here with me. Right.
Okay.
Because we have to make the sauce first.
Okay.
We're going to make a fresh sauce here with tomatoes.
Okay.
And we're going to start with plum tomatoes. And you know, plum tomatoes are really the hallmark of a lot of Italian tomato sauces. People always say, well, why do you use plum? Is that what you were going to ask me?
Well, no, I know why, because they're not so juicy too, right?
Right. See how meaty they are?
They have a lot of good meat in them.
And they have less seeds. So all you want to do for a sauce like this is just get some fresh plum tomatoes, and then you just want to cut them up. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy. Just cut them up in small pieces, and then to this we're going to add some garlic and a little bit of olive oil.
Now, if you couldn't get the fresh plum ones, could you use them in the can?
Well, yeah, you could use canned. You can always, well, no, that's not true. You could always, I use canned plum tomatoes when I can't get the fresh. But now while you're standing there doing nothing, Arlene,
what do you want me to do?
Why don't you cut up the garlic?
Oh,
okay?
sure.
So now,
I get the smelly job.
Wait, that's the wrong way to do garlic. See, let me show you.
Smash it, right?
Right. If you just see, then you don't have to stand there and peel. Then it just comes right off. Got it?
See, it paid off because I didn't have to do it, right? Because you showed me how.
Okay, but now you got to chop this up. So while I'm doing this, you do that. So now,
you want this one done too?
No, just one. One clove. I just wanted to show you how you could get the skin off.
Okay, now, you know, my viewers know that I am not a professional.
Okay, well that's okay.
I don't do all that fancy stuff, so
that's okay. You don't have to have a degree from Cordon Bleu to do this.
That's right.
All right.
Exactly right.
So now here are my tomatoes. And I think I've got just one more to do here. Now, you were asking me about using other tomatoes. If you didn't have canned plum tomatoes, well, then you could use You could use beefsteak tomatoes. You could use cherry tomatoes.
And this is good for whatever's in season. If if
Right.
it's in the summertime or whatever, go for it, right?
Now, let's see if, hey, I did
it. Works, right?
Okay, yeah, okay. Now, what we're going to do is put a little olive oil in there.
Okay.
So get a little olive oil. Now, the mistake that people make about garlic is that they let it brown too much. You see, and then when it's brown, it's no good.
No good.
So get this garlic, and we want to put this right in the pot.
Okay.
All right. I'm just going to get that heat. You don't even have to get that too hot. Just put it in.
Okay.
And now let me see. I got my heat up, so let's bring a wood spoon over here.
Okay.
And why don't you stir that around a little
Sure, I'll
bit?
be glad to.
And
All
while
right.
you're doing that, I'm going to get the rest of these tomatoes. And now all we're going to do is cook this down for a few minutes.
Okay.
And then after we've added the tomatoes to that, then we're going to be adding some fresh basil. Now,
I love fresh herbs.
when I do herbs, and I'm glad you like fresh because dried herbs are useless. Excuse me.
No, I
They're
agree with you.
useless. About the only good dried herb that my grandmother ever used was oregano. Because it still has some of its...
Has a potency to it,
right.
sure.
So I'm going to snip some up, and I like to do that with a scissors, you see.
Yeah.
Takes less time than trying to do it with a knife.
Right.
And I always try to put the herbs in last in what I'm cooking, because the oils won't be dissipated. You see, the heat destroys the oils in fresh herbs. So I just want a little bit more, but doesn't this smell good?
Oh, it's wonderful.
And you know, if you don't have a fresh basil plant at home, you can always go to the grocery store. They carry them in little packets.
Sure.
So there's no excuse
Not
as
to
to
have,
why.
that's right.
Are you watching that garlic?
Yes, it's,
because it burns.
It's cooking. No,
okay,
it's-
now that's good.
Is that
That's good?
good?
Yeah, we're ready for these tomatoes.
Okay.
All right,
Are you
stand
coming
by.
to me? Okay, stand by. Here
All right,
goes the
lower,
tomatoes.
in go the tomatoes.
Okay.
All the tomatoes go in.
You know, in your book, you have a 5-minute tomato sauce.
Yes.
That's
yes.
wonderful.
Okay, now we got to lower this heat a little bit.
Okay.
Oh, there. Okay,
Okay.
good. Now, all you want to do is let that cook down a little bit.
Okay.
And we're going to add some salt and pepper to that. And you know,
smells good.
sometimes my grandmother added sugar to her tomato sauce, and people always say, well, why do you have sugar in there? Well, you know, sugar sometimes is good because it cuts the acid of the tomatoes, but if you didn't want to put it in, you didn't have to. So now you just really want to let that simmer down, and this is going to be the sauce that goes over our frittata. So let's bring that down just a little bit.
Okay.
There, and now you're going to have to keep your eye on that.
I'm going to keep an eye on it, I promise.
So now the next thing we want to do is get the prosciutto nice and crispy, because this is an integral part of this.
All right, now what's prosciutto for?
All right, for those that don't know, prosciutto is really a raw cured ham that comes from Italy.
Okay.
And actually now you can get the authentic prosciutto di Parma. Is allowed to come into this country now. There are two good ones. The prosciutto di Parma is the only one that we can get now. And really, if you've never had real prosciutto, you need to taste it. Now, this is not prosciutto di Parma. This is a domestic. It's okay. You want a little sample?
Sure.
Okay, now what we're going to do here is just...
Sometimes they use that with cantaloupe, don't they?
Yes, that's an antipasto. So I've got a little bit of extra virgin olive oil in here, and all I want to do is put this in. I've got about, a good 1.25 cups of that. And what I want to do is just get this crispy. So let me make sure I've got my heat up. You know, when you're in somebody else's kitchen,
I know, it's hard to work on a different stove, isn't it?
Okay, so now we're going to get that crispy. So how are you doing there?
This is doing good. It's coming down.
Now, while this is crisping, let me tell you about some of the other things that go into this. We're making something that really can be made from the leftovers in your refrigerator. And so what I'm suggesting to you today is just a suggestion. If you have other things, if you don't have prosciutto, you've got ham, you've got salami, pepperoni. One night my son came home with a friend from college, and he said, Mom, feed us. I had pepperoni and broccoli. I threw it together with this.
Good, yeah.
That was good. So whatever you happen to have. So that's starting to do nicely. So now we need eggs. And I know this is your forte.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
But I'm working on the sauce over here.
No, you got to work at 3 things at once. This is the way it is. Okay. You do this. I'll do the sauce.
Oh, sure.
All right.
Now, what do you want me to do over here?
Well, you need to crack 6 eggs in a bowl.
6 eggs in a bowl.
Yeah, get the 6 eggs going.
Okay.
And now you really don't want to work with less than 6 eggs. I don't know why. My grandmother always told me that. Don't make an omelet with less than 6 eggs.
Really?
So you want 6 eggs, and those are large, but you know, large is a relative term when it comes to eggs.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Okay?
Because one person's large is certainly different than another's.
So now this recipe assumes that you have leftover pasta, okay? And now the pasta can be, as I say, if you had made spaghetti, let's say the 2 nights before, and it had tomato sauce on it, well, you use that with the eggs. If you don't have any pasta in the fridge and you're sitting there saying, oh, sure, how am I going to make this? Well, everybody's got pasta in their pantry, so you boil up a half a pound.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so this is looking
now I'm just
pretty
beating
good.
these?
Beat those up and then give that a little pinch of salt and pepper.
Okay.
All right, now this is real quick. See?
Is it important for these eggs to come to room temperature for a good omelet, or does it matter?
No, that's more important when you're baking, but not so much for this, no.
Okay.
See, my grandmother never thought about things like that. These are all recipes
Isn't
from
that
the
the
mind.
truth? The old timers just said, let's do it, and they got the stuff and did it,
That's
right?
right. Let's cook.
Yeah.
Okay, so this looks good. You see how nice that looks? And that's going to give a nice texture.
But Canadian bacon would be good in
Canadian bacon, I've done it with that also, so that's good. All right, how are we doing there? Great.
Is that enough?
Yep. Okay, now I think I'm going to add my herbs to this. So here's my basil. And you see how fast this is?
It's unbelievable how quickly that's cooked down.
And
I
in
thought
it
that
goes.
would take a lot longer.
Right. And really, you don't want the tomatoes to be mush because that's going to be a nice little added texture. Okay. All right, I'm going to turn that off. That's done.
Done.
This is dinner in a half hour.
I'm telling you.
All right.
All right.
All right.
I'll move over here. So you want me to stir this?
All right. No. You got to work. You've got a great cheese now. Okay.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right. Now, this is Parmesan cheese. And really, the hallmark of Italian cooking is to use fresh ingredients. So you don't want to use things in boxes, with funny names.
Right.
All right. So we want to grate some fresh cheese. So go for it, Arlene.
Okay, you want this side?
Any side will do because this is going to be all melted down in the.
Okay.
So now with Parmesan, you want to
show me how.
You want to make sure with Parmesan, you want it either fine or you can do it on this side. See, any side you like. But you want to make sure that you're getting real Parmesan cheese, and you'll know that by looking on the rind of the cheese, and the pin dots in it tell you that it's Parmesan cheese. It comes from a certain area in Italy, Parma, in the northern part of Italy, and it's made from cow's milk. Okay, and it's set by law as to how long this cheese has to be aged. So we want about 3 tablespoons. I try to just eyeball things when I do it.
Yeah, I notice you're really careful in your measurements.
Yeah, so that's about, well, when I wrote my cookbook, that was a real problem.
That
because
must have been really hard.
Everyone said, well, now you got to have exact measurements, and I never cook from exact measurements. So that's 3 tablespoons, and that goes in. All right, so we want to mix that around a little bit. And then you want to have, what other cheeses you have in the fridge? Now, this happens to be mozzarella. But if you didn't have mozzarella, you could use cheddar, you could use Asiago, you could use Fontina, Swiss, whatever comes to mind.
Okay.
And now this, you just want to cut up. You just want, maybe about 1.5 cups of cheese. So why don't you cut that while I get some more herbs.
Okay.
It's a good thing we're working together.
Now, it doesn't matter how I cut this up, right?
Just cut it up in little cubes or little pieces.
Cubes, okay.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter because it's all going to get cooked down anyway. So now I'm going to add...
You're really making me nervous in the kitchen today because I'm not a professional, and I know that you know all this stuff, see, and I don't. But I appreciate the fact that you're not drawing attention to the fact that I don't know all these things.
Is this a confession, Arlene?
This is a confession.
Because if this is a confession, believe me.
You're not listening, right?
I have made every mistake there is to be made in cooking.
When did you start to cook?
Well,
how old were you?
I was just newly married, of course, but I knew all this by osmosis because I was watching my
family. Sure. Osmosis cooking.
I never cooked a thing. In fact, the first time I cooked, I wound up in the hospital. Yes, I did.
That bad or that good?
Well, I tried to light a gas stove with a wad of newspaper.
No.
Yeah, that's how much I knew about cooking. And I was like a singed chicken in the emergency room. I had no eyebrows, no hair on my arms.
Oh, my goodness.
All right, now how you doing there?
I think it's about done.
All right, so now we've got everything. Oh,
is everything ready?
Our leftover pasta. Here it is. Now, Arlene, here's a little trick.
Okay.
Pasta you can use just regular, as I told you, or here I've mixed some spinach pasta.
Right.
With just regular pasta. If you happen to have beet pasta, you could have the colors of the Italian flag.
Right.
Red, white, and green. Okay.
Do you love watching At Home with Arlene Williams? Then be sure to check out our new YouTube channel. It's filled with classic episodes from over 20 years of At Home, and more videos are added each day. And don't forget to click the subscribe button so you'll never miss another episode of At Home.
So are we almost ready to do this?
I think so.
All right,
I'm game
so
if you are.
now we've got to get a frying pan going. So we're going to turn this one on.
Crank
Boy,
that
I'm really good at this, aren't I?
I'm
Turning
telling
these
you,
pans
you're good.
on. Okay, so now get a large enough frying pan to get this this whole
everything
omelet
together,
into.
sure.
Yeah, you could do it in a smaller one, but it's going to take a little longer.
Okay.
So now what you want is some olive oil.
Okay.
So a little bit of olive oil goes in the
Okay.
frying pan. And then you want some butter. And here we've got, we want about a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of butter. So get that in and get that melted.
I like the combination of butter and oil together.
Yes, yes. Okay, so now we got to get that swirled around. So I hope your arms are in good shape today,
Okay.
because you're going to have to do something really special with this. So while that's melting, now we can add the spaghetti.
Spaghetti,
So
okay.
this, take
You mean
this
that
out.
goes into the eggs?
Right. Everything is
Okay.
going to go into the eggs now. So here's the
Ah.
pasta. And that all goes in.
Okay.
I don't want, see, now this was ingenuity in the Italian kitchen, because
Sure.
nothing was ever wasted, you see.
That's right.
So why don't you mix that around while I get
Okay.
the rest of the stuff. All right,
Okay.
the cheese, I'm just going to bring it over and throw it in.
Okay.
That goes in.
Here, how about if I turn it this way?
Yeah,
for you?
get the rest of it. Okay.
Okay.
Does this look good already?
Did I
Yeah.
do a good job on this cheese?
Yes, you did.
Thank you so much.
Okay,
I feel
and-
so much better now.
And now we can add the prosciutto. Now remember,
yeah.
you could put vegetables in this too.
Broccoli
red and
or-
green peppers that you
Yes.
could saute or not. You could just put them in
Some
raw.
onion?
Onion.
Some onion.
Doesn't that look nice?
Looks
Okay, get
wonderful.
that
Mix
going.
it up.
Get
Okay.
that all mixed up.
Oh, this looks great.
Now our butter is doing just fine, and now as soon as you've got that mixed, we're ready to put that in.
I think we're ready, unless it needs
All
more.
right.
Does it?
Looks pretty good to me, Arlene.
Okay.
All right.
You want these to?
No, let me get something larger. Okay,
Okay.
here, I want a spatula. Okay, so now, as soon as it's ready like this, you dump it in,
We're dancing.
get it in, like so. And now what you want to do is flatten this down like a pancake.
Ah,
Okay, and this has got to cook now
Okay.
on the bottom side. And when you do this, you should really do it in a frying pan that's lightweight, because you're going to have to do the Hail Mary flip.
just flipping it
Right,
over.
and when we're going to have to do the Hail Mary flip out of this. So get it in there, and then this has to cook on the bottom side before we can turn it out. And how do you know when that's ready to turn out?
That's a good question.
The answer is when this moves as one unit and it doesn't look soggy or soupy in the center. So let me raise the heat.
In other words, so it has to solidify on the
It
bottom.
has to solidify a little bit on the
Okay.
bottom. Oh, we want to throw that in so we don't waste it.
don't waste anything.
All right. Does that not look delicious?
That looks wonderful.
All right, let's get this mess out of the way. All right, so now we just have to wait now for that to cook,
Okay.
and then we'll turn that over. Now let me tell you a little secret.
All
This
right.
could also be done in the oven.
Oh, can it?
Yeah, for those who are not flippers.
Right,
Yeah,
I understand
You
that.
could put this in a greased bake dish and bake it at 350 in the oven, and then cut it into little squares.
Oh, and you don't have to turn it or anything. It just bakes
No,
nice and
you
solid.
just bake it and then just cut it into pieces and serve it.
Where did this originate from? This
Right
recipe?
here.
Really? It was your own?
No, this is from my grandmother's head.
Okay.
What I call le ricetta della memoria, the recipes
Memory.
of the mind, you see. None of those old people wrote anything down.
They didn't.
But they brought those traditions with them from Italy and passed them on to us.
Now, I know that you travel back and forth a lot from Italy, and you're researching and always looking
Right.
for... how did you get started doing that?
Well, I think around 1982, the light bulb went on in my head. You know, and I had a family of my own, and I was renovating an old house, and I had to put a kitchen in, and I sort of designed a kitchen that was based on what my mother used when I was at home. And that's how that happened. And then I started to get into cooking and went back and forth to Italy to learn what I already knew.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, because things that they have tried and they're proven, you know that they've brought them with them, so that's
Exactly.
what it's all about.
Exactly.
Describe for me what a Sunday afternoon was like in your house.
Well, Sunday day in our house actually started on Saturday, when my mother would make, first of all, the dessert, which would be a wonderful sponge cake, or a pan di Spagna, as it was called. And then she would maybe make a chicken and wine dish, or we would go to my grandmother's house to have chicken and wine, and there'd be pasta, some kind of pasta, always. Italian sausage, breads which were made on Friday, I mean 10, 15 loaves.
there were
at
that
a time.
many people that would come to the house.
Right, because my grandmother's sons and daughters all lived in the area, and that was tradition,
So,
you see, to come and visit
sure.
your mother on Sunday after church.
Sure.
You know, my kids used to say, drop me off at the corner, Mom, we don't want anyone to see you. So, you know. So now, Arlene, you see, it's starting,
yes, I see what you
it's
mean.
almost there, but not quite. You see how it's still a little loose in the
moist,
center?
yeah.
So we have to
Just
let
have to
that,
wait.
we have to have a little patience here. But Sunday dinner was usually shared with most of the relatives, and my mother doing most of the cooking with my grandmother. So it became something that I hated, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I hated that because I thought, oh, every Sunday it's a factory over here, you know, that's all we do is cook. And I really wanted to get away from that.
Oh, isn't it sad, huh?
Yes.
And now you're right back to it,
And
though,
now,
right?
I mean, you can't escape
You
your
can't
roots.
get away from it. That's exactly right. But you probably now would not trade that for anything in the world, would you?
No, I wouldn't, because I've learned a lot about myself, and I've learned
Exactly.
a lot I've learned that I've passed away a lot of things that I would have loved to have asked my grandmother when she was alive.
Well, I think that all of us, you know, I had a grandmother that was such a wonderful baker. And I just never had the opportunity to spend time with her to watch her do it.
To see her, what her secrets were.
And she can give you the recipe, but those old timers, that you have to, it's the feel. Does it feel right? And if it doesn't feel right, don't do it until it feels right. But you can't describe that on a piece of paper. You just don't know how that is.
Okay, well, this feels right.
Is this
to me.
ready?
We gotta
Okay,
go.
now
Yeah.
we're gonna do
okay, now
something.
we got to do something.
All right.
Okay, now the thing is, the trick is here. I use a pizza pan. If you
Okay.
don't have a pizza pan, use something that's going to go over the pan.
Okay.
Then you do what's called the Hail Mary flip.
Oh, is that it?
You know the
Okay.
Hail Mary pass in football? This is the Hail Mary flip. You
Look
see?
at the bottom of that.
Yeah. So now it's nice.
It's wonderful.
And now you need to put just a little bit more olive oil and butter. We won't put the butter in.
No?
No, we'll fudge it.
Okay.
All right, get the oil going again. And you know, if your pan is real dry, you'll need to put it in, but this looks fine. And then just get it back in there.
Oh, boy.
And reform it. You see, don't worry that it looks a little sloppy at the moment, because you're
'Cause
going to
it'll cook on the other side
you're going to
now.
reform it in the
Sure.
pan. Now, this is something that can be eaten at room temperature. It's great to take to a picnic.
So if it got cold, it wouldn't
No,
affect the
actually,
flavor?
it's
probably
better.
good.
It's better, you know, the next day. It's better the next day. So when you've got it to this point, well, then you want to get ready the decorative dish that you're going to be serving it on.
Oh, like something like
yes,
this, maybe?
Yes, something like this. That'll be
It's
fine.
interesting we had it here. If you were going to serve this for, say, you were planning on having this for a party or something, what would you serve with it?
Well, I would serve a nice insalata mista, which translates just to a basic mixed Italian salad. With good extra virgin olive oil and wine vinegar or balsamic vinegar,
Okay.
which is all the rage right now
Yes,
here. But it's been all the rage in Italy for
a long time.
centuries.
Yeah,
Yes,
right.
and you know the Italians eat their salads after the main
know
meal.
they do.
That's what we call un digestivo,
Which
it
means
settles the stomach. You know?
I see.
And the lettuces that Italians use tend to be on the bitter side, like the romaine, the radicchio, not iceberg. You
No.
don't. There's no iceberg lettuce in Italy.
Is that right?
Yeah, when you get a plate of antipasto and you have iceberg lettuce and canned tomatoes and canned olives, I just about.
That's bad, huh?
Okay, so now I think,
All right.
Think
Think it's
Arlene.
ready?
Yeah. Would you
'Cause
like
it's
to do
moving
this
around.
one, or
If you want me to.
all right. Do I have to
do
say
this?
a novena, or are you
No,
going to get
I'm
it?
I'm gonna do it.
Well, wait, you need your
Okay,
mitt.
need to-
Okay, I'm not going to look. Okay.
Oh, I can't even lift the pan. Now I'm going to turn and just flip it right over, right? Ha ha.
My prayer worked.
Look at
Oh,
that.
Isn't that wonderful?
Isn't that wonderful? It's
Okay.
right.
Get it in the center.
It is beautiful.
So it looks beautiful. Okay.
We're going to come right back in just a minute after this word, and we're going to do the finished product, and we're going to show it to you. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Oh, that looks wonderful.
Good.
Just go to ctvn.org/athome to get all the recipes from today's show for free. That's right, no subscriptions. They're available online at no cost, and more are being added each day. So join us at ctvn.org/athome to get today's recipes now.
I told you we'd be right back, and sure enough, we are. And Mary Ann, please, will you serve?
I'd be happy to
frittata.
serve you, Arlene. Now, you know, I usually cut this in a wedge if I'm doing it in the frying pan, but if you're
Okay.
doing it in the oven, you're going to be cutting it into a square.
Okay.
So that looks pretty good. And
Smells heavenly.
Well, it should, because we've made it with very simple ingredients, but fresh ingredients. So now let me get your dish. There. How's that look?
Isn't that nice?
Isn't that pretty?
And you could cut smaller wedges or larger wedges, whatever you wanted to.
Now wait a minute. I gotta give you a dollop of the tomato sauce. That fresh
that I made, right?
Right. Right over the top.
Oh,
there.
that's beautiful.
Now,
Isn't that nice?
if you didn't want to use a tomato sauce over the top, you could just put butter with Parmesan cheese melted together. So, can I have a piece?
Please,
Oh,
help
okay.
yourself.
All right, I'm going to have a little piece, just a little
And
wedge.
I have to try this because it smells wonderful, and like you said, there's very few ingredients. I mean, it's not any elaborate ingredients.
If you have the pasta, the rest of the stuff is in your refrigerator already. How is it?
Wonderful.
Oh, thank you. And you mean that, don't you,
I
Arlene?
certainly do.
All right, I'm going to have a little piece because
It's delicious.
I've made this so many times.
How often would you make this at home?
Well, at home, you know, this is a nice Saturday afternoon thing to have, or a quick supper if you're really busy that day, and you know your kids are going to eat it because they love pasta.
It's delicious.
So
really
I'll
is.
give it the taste test.
Again, I want to remind our viewers that your wonderful book, Ciao Italia, is available at most any bookstore and all across the country. And I can't thank you enough for being here today. It's been such a pleasure. You are such a delight. And she's on WQED here in the Pittsburgh market on Saturdays. So if you'll check the listing, I know that she'd be happy that you watched. And why don't you try doing something special for your family? I always say that. And when you write to me, you always tell me, well, you know, I am trying to do something special for my family, and I'm glad to hear that. But make a special effort to do that special thing this weekend. You know, instead of running off to the McDonald's or the Burger King, say, I'm going to make that frittata. I saw you do it, and I'm going to try it. All I ask you to do is try. And if you fail, that's not the end of the world. There's always tomorrow to try it again. And customize it to the things that you like in it. If you like that Canadian bacon or even regular bacon, try it. Why not? But whatever you do, try. And until we see you the next time, be sure to join us because it just wouldn't be the same without you here at home.
Don't forget to click the subscribe button so you'll never miss another episode of At Home. Thank you for watching.
Fresh produce provided by Jordan Banana, wholesalers of fresh fruit and vegetables in Dravosburg, PA. Cookware provided by Woolies. Your favorite gourmet deserves the best for less at Woolly Balcony Cookware. Groceries provided by Foodland, where the answer is always yes. Cornerstone Television wishes to thank all our faithful viewers whose consistent prayers and financial support have made this program possible.